Hello everyone, and welcome back to another speed draw. I am of course your resident mad scientist, Dear Darling Honeyboy, and today I have done a style swap with my favorite new indie game, Do No Harm. So I have drawn a Do No Harm character in my style, and one of my characters in the Do No Harm style. For the uninitiated, Do No Harm is a Lovecraftian doctor simulator where you treat your patients' strange ailments and keep your eye out for anomalies. This video contains little to no spoilers of Do No Harm, because I want you to play the game without too much going into it. But I will show some references of some villagers that I used, and of course the character I drew, as well as the two major characters that I drew in my last video, if you haven't seen that one. First up is Do No Harm's perfect mad scientist girl, Marianne. Roll the tapes. So I started off by doing some pose work. I kind of already had an idea in my head of what I wanted to do, but I knew it was going to be quite hard to execute. You can also see her design there. I love her, and just as many major characters in this game, she is incredibly character design. Like many things in this game, very much my jam. I wanted to focus on like the big characteristics, obviously. So I had to include the hand thing she does, big eyes, and the lab coat. The lab coat was something I was like, ooh, this I can use. When it comes in, you can see it has a quite nice flow to it. But yeah, the perspective was pretty hard, but I was stubborn with it. I'm like, I know what I want to do. And when you get that artistic vision, you know, simply have to. The lantern she got clipped her coat somehow was a big. It was a curse, but I used it to my benefit later, and it turned out really well. I also apparently can't stop fucking drawing hands, and, you know, make it kind of difficult for myself, but I just can't stop. But I struggled with it quite a bit because of the perspective and just like how she holds it. With this one, I do quite a bit of canvas flipping, and for the better, I think. The face I stick with later, because I do a lot of versions of it, I think I drew mostly, like, flipped. As I alluded to, both of these characters are mad scientists types. I really like that trope. I will refrain from talking about my character. I have a lot of things to say about him. He's my perfect boy. I've thought about making like video series where I just talk about my OCs for God knows how long, just like a little OC corner, and I know at least one person would watch it, and that's, you know, so that's good. I tried to draw over the sketch of the eyes, but it didn't really work, so I was like, nah, fuck it, we're just gonna take the sketch and, like, erase the more messy bits, try to clean it up. The hand at the hip was something I struggled with big time, because, like, I can't, drawing hands on the hip is not, I don't like it, especially in that perspective. Like, how was I supposed to do it? So I was like, nah, we're gonna hide it. We're just gonna hide it. Very cut down, this one. Lot of futzing. But something that I wasn't mad about during the process, actually, because I go back quite often in the process and, like, check with the previous versions. I, like, copy paste the layers at points just so I have a chance to go back. Go back. Just because it has happened so much that I can't go back. But every time I was like, oh, I did a lot of futzing, and I went back and checked, and it was like, oh, that futzing paid off. It actually turned out better. This was, I think, the longest piece I've done for a while. I think it was up in the probably close to 20 hours or something. But again, I wasn't way too mad about it, and it wasn't, I think, as intense. It didn't feel as intense as the other ones I've made that turned out that long. No suffering. And I really wanted it to turn out. Again, the details on the corset, like the straps or something, man, they gave me a lot of grief. She had her belt, the belt shape there was quite difficult too, but I it was nice. Another layer of dynamicness and movement. Also, I didn't really know what was going on with like her shirt, where her shirt collar goes into her corset, because it's like she's wearing an undershirt, but I don't really know. Figuring out like how the goggles works with the hair was kind of difficult, because I didn't want to just squish her hair down with it. Yeah, the logistics. It's not easy out here. The characters in this game are usually hidden behind like the counter, but then I got her full body reference, and man, maximalist designs. How the shape of the fingers turned out is like uncharacteristic. I was about to say uncharacteristically good, but I feel like I found like a new. Oh, this is how you do more realistic hands. Had a little, I was about to say awakening, little realization there. I think also it was because I looked a lot at the original style and how they do like knuckles and stuff, and use that to kind of figure it out. I love learning. The characters in this game they do not have pupils, but I felt like in my style, to make it intense, I felt like I had to. So I mess around with her eye color a bit as we go on, but it turned out in a nice place. Here I go and do the lantern as well. Really wanted to make it stick out, put it in the foreground. Drawing chain, I was really like, how the hell is it attached to her coat? Because it's hidden in the reference, and I was like, I don't know. I just had it clipped on there. I really enjoyed how the lantern turned out, and also like I did it surprisingly fast. I actually end up using the lantern as the light source. I didn't really know if I wanted to make it like a secondary thing, but I ended up making it the main light source, and it turned out very fun. I don't know if that was the idea from the beginning. It might have been, but like it makes the piece even more like, let's say cool, but like dynamic and intense and moody and all of that. All the good stuff that you would want. I did the flats off screen because time. I had a bit of the same process as I did for the two pieces I did in the last video. With that, I have in that I had like a bunch of shading layers. But with this one, I started with like the lighting layer. I think I usually do add glow or color dodge. So I started with that, and then went in and did the layers and layers of multiplies and overlays and all that. I actually did the background before I rendered, just because I wanted to I don't know, figure that out, see how it worked with the lantern maybe. Yeah, I also kind of thought of making the light green or blue or something. You can see I tried that during that process, but I decided to stick with a red. I think I also considered making it like a dark blue, but I didn't commit to that. So for the rendering, I just started to clean up the blobs. And I knew I wanted to have like not as much of a blurry painterly kind of thing going on, but more solid shapes, because that was something I learned last speedrun. So I tried to focus on that. For better or for worse, it's difficult to do new things, and you can quote me on that. But I feel like, especially this ad layer turned out very nice. But with the amount of contrast and depth I needed, I was like piling on shading layers because it just like wasn't dark enough. I really wanted like the bottom of the coat and the legs to kind of disappear a bit. That didn't happen, and I think that was fine. But it was I was on a mission with this one. I really was working with this peculiar or like this unusual light source. It was fun, but it was like a bit difficult to figure out exactly how much I should like make it spread out. Also because I was, again, thinking with the logistics, like, oh, it's a bit further away from her body and so on and so forth. So it's like, I need to figure that out. But of course, when you're making art, you can always, like, you can cheat it a bit if you know that you're cheating it. So I did that with being able to make her face a bit lighter, and stuff like that. Also, I don't think the goggles would have gotten much light in reality, but I did give them that. Putting like light on her hair was a hard thing. I didn't really know how to do that. One of my favorite things with the designs of the major characters in Do No Harm is like they have very solid hair shapes. So Marianne has it, and the priest has it, and that was something I noted when I had to do a style study for the next piece. But trying to figure that out with like lighting and stuff was difficult. But I really wanted to keep it in those strong shapes and not like realism it up because it looked good. It just looks good. I went in and temporarily shows a very light blue color, and if I remember correctly, it's because it's a contrast color to some color she has on her. Because I was like, okay, this is gonna make it pop, but I end up making it around the same color of her hair. Making things cohesive was better than making contrast in this case. So much with like multiple shading layers, you find a hard detail that you don't want there, and it's like, fuck, which layer is it on? I think I've never had more shading layers in a piece before. I swear to God, my clip studio probably hates me for it. Also, like, while going through the layers, figuring out what I can delete, I was like, oh, here's another lighting layer. Where did you go? Where were you hiding? So I just used that too. Rendering metal is infamously hard, but I think simplifying it the way I did on the lantern was turned out pretty cool. I don't really know if she has that explicitly in her design or if it just kind of looks like it, but like, I don't know if it's a gap or something, but I gave her like a little detail by one of her teeth, and I think it turned out really cute. I really like her little freckles too. It's very cute. Also, the highlights to show the scratch glass on the goggles, I really enjoyed. Kind of fixing with the background. Didn't really know. Again, with the contrast versus cohesiveness was one thing, especially because it would be very hard to commit to the original idea of like having an actual background. So I didn't. But I did this airbrushy thing, but I wanted some kind of like texture in the background. I tried a bunch of like noise filters and brushes I had, but I ended up taking just like a stock image of a TV static and putting, I think, an overlay layer on it. turned out crunchy, turned out nice. I did go back and also did a version with a bit like softer lighting. So there's a more yellow and there's a more orange one. In the end, I think it was really worth all my time and effort I put into it. I feel like I could execute on the idea I had, which is always nice. I feel like I also managed to capture like the facial features to a level, which was one of the things that took the most futzing. But again, I succeeded, and that's the most important part I was about to say. But there's a lot of like small details that I enjoy with this piece too, like her little freckles, the scratched glass. I feel like I managed to work with the lantern as well, even though I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to do this in the beginning? Same like shading, nice. I'm also happy that I have been able to like apply what I have learned from earlier speedruns. It was a lot of effort, but it paid off for once. So yeah, happy with it. Very. Next up is my little freak, my mad scientist, Cecil Moore. And I will talk to you more about him, but first roll the tapes. And there he is. You got no time to prepare for this man's face. He's a character I play in a homebrew campaign, and he slowly started to just take over my mind. he spins in there, and I can't stop him. I didn't really know where to start face-wise, so I literally started by, like, from memory trying to draw the priest face for some reason, even though he's a handsome fella, and, you know, you're currently looking at Cecil, and he is not one. So it was a very horrible use of the Hotman's face to create this monstrosity, but, you know, it worked. There was like, I had to use a lot of references. This speedrun ended up very edited too, partially because of time, but secondly because there's like solid 2 seconds, mind you, sped up, where nothing happens, just because I'm overlooking at references all the time. Because like, oh, there's a references. Is the reference to draw this? Is the reference to draw that? What's the closest thing I can find? And still like make it as much Cecil as I can. But yeah, he is a doctor who just ended up a bit too interested in magic and ended up, you know, just experimenting on himself a bunch and on unwilling participants sometimes. I should not start talking about him more because I cannot stop. With like his posture was quite difficult to figure out, just because one feature I feel like of this style is like good posture and long necks. And the mannerisms he have gotten as I played him, it's like a defining thing that he has bad posture. But looking at, I'm not going to show them, but older characters do have a hunch, but too extreme for how I wanted, like, how I wanted to be for my boy. So I kind of compromised there. I compromised both the character design and the style a bit after each other, because you could see back there I was fucking around with a very pointy hand, and it's because this motherfucking guy has a gauntlet, because the DM was like, give me form over function, and I can never do form over function, and I also can't draw that fucking gauntlet, so I just tried to like figure it out by like, oh, should I change the hand it's on? But also it didn't work with the style, I don't feel, either. I couldn't find any reasonable reference for weird stuff like that, so I ended up not using it. And it's like completely correct that they don't have a reasonable reference I could use, because no one should force themselves to do that. And so I tried to do like the thing he has under his gauntlet, because the reason he has a gauntlet canonically is because of nerve damage, because of experiments, so he can't really use his hand that well. But the thing is, the mechanism under that looks like this. And I was not going to. And so I didn't. This style is very shapy. It really worked for Cecil because he is a lot. He has a lot to look at. So it made me able to accentuate that in a way that I really enjoyed. Also because that kind of like simplification and like making these strong shapes is something that I personally really like, but also personally struggle with. So being able to like look at that and kind of have a chance to study it's always very nice. I really liked like the blockiness of the face. Tried to combine, some of the villagers that have very severe faces and a bit with the major characters I use as reference. Struggle with the damn hands. This was unpleasant hands, but I really could not see him having another like hand posture, have another way to hold his arms. The thing with the style, like with the hands, they have like style features that I don't use, but are like really effective, especially the way they do knuckles, and I will carry that with me. Because it helped a lot and it made my hands look better. But I like never do fingernails, so I haven't had to confront the fact that this man even has fingernails. So it's like, am I gonna do something with them? Because for sure he has fucked them up. But no, I didn't. Because like, no, we're just gonna do it. Cecil is hard to translate, partially because of like weird details, but also because he is 4'5", wearing clothes for someone who's like 6 foot, and he does not have like normal proportions. Also, like the fantasy style, very large ears, doesn't really exist in Do No Harm. And things like that. So that I had to figure out myself and just make some decisions. Making his arms was also like difficult because the only major characters that has their arms out or visible in that way are ladies with pretty like slender arms. So I did that at first, but then I realized like, oh, there is one specific villager that has his hand up. So I had to go through my, more than 20 hours of Do No Harm contents I have on my VOD channel to try and find that one villager so I could take a screenshot. They have more square hands, thin upper arms, and thick lower arms. So I thickened him up a bit. Because I really enjoy those proportions. Usually I sketch in red and do inks in black, but for some reason I chose to do inks in red this time. I think it in some way helped me, but I don't really know how. Cecil also has horrible teeth, but that was not... there's references for that, a bunch of it in the game. One thing I also was like unsure about when it comes to like how close it would be able to work with the style is the weird details he has on his lips, the staining essentially. As my friend said, those lips are unsalvageable, so now we just call it his unsalvageable lips, which is true. The hair was also something I kind of had to figure out because that kind of frizzy hair isn't really a thing in that side of the Do No Harm style. So I ended up using like just the hair of like a kid. That kid I used a lot for like references in general. this game really uses the eye sockets or that part of the face in a way that I really like, and also I think will bring with me. And they're not afraid of eye bags. They're so much, and I like that a lot. Also because Cecil, that's a pretty pronounced feature in his face. But I also recognized that a lot of things I did was a bit like antithetical to the original style, especially when it comes to like the neatness. I was in there on the neat lines. In the original style, it's a lot of like long one swoop lines, and I'm not good at that. So trying to make multiple lines look like one cohesive 1 minute, doesn't really, I simplified the mechanism he has on his arm, and I think it kind of worked with the style. Here going with the flat, something that was very good for me too is that essentially like there's similarities between Marianne's outfit and Cecil's outfit. Like his outfit is like Marianne's, but just worse. The end of one of his sleeves is torn in the design, and that really became a nice thing, because I feel like torn fabric is something that you see a lot in Do No Harm designs, and I like that I was able to incorporate that. I struggled a bunch with colors, so I have cut out entire segments of me just changing colors of especially the shadow layers. Another thing I struggled with was trying to figure out how to translate the like unpigmented parts of his skin, partially because of color, but also with like texture. There is like an amount of pigment spots, you would call it, on some of the villagers, but obviously nothing this severe. So trying to figure that out was pretty hard, color-wise especially. Looking at the shading of Do No Harm, I realized that there was like a lot of different methods there. There's like some gradients, some like soft edge cell shading, and also like more painterly smudged stuff. And trying to work with all that was quite fun, like seeing where you should put what and so on. Also, because the airbrushy stuff is used for like making parts of the face redder, I think is very nice, and something I used. I also liked the way it turned out with using the airbrush on the lower arms, and me remembering that like bounced light is a thing. In the end, I'm once again very happy with it. I feel like it turned out like very nicely rendered. I do recognize that it's a bit me when it comes to line art and stuff, but that was like that was an aspect that I was like, I will accept it because it looks good. I feel like it's still pretty recognizably Do No Harm in a way that it's like that I'm proud of. And I, with some photo editing magic, also managed to make it like it looks like a screenshot from the game, and I'm so incredibly endeared. It's just very fun. I played around with it a lot because, again, I draw him so ridiculously much. He really lives in my brain. Also, he is one of the reasons why I got the game in the first place, because of his themes, like Eldritch Doctor has been like his tagline a bit. So when I got the game, I was like Cecil, and I've also been naming my character like Dr. Moore because his name is Cecil Moore, so I just named it Dr. Moore every time as like a little funny joke. So just putting him in the game kind of was fun. In the end, these two I feel like I'm particularly proud of. The Marianne one, because of like the amount of difficult artistic decisions I had to make to fit my idea and the character design, and like the fact that that kind of perspective is difficult, and the light source and all of that, very worth the effort. And with the Cecil one, it's like I love him, so it's like I love him and I love the game. So mashing those two together was like I was like giggling like stupid. I was like dopamine giggling at him when I looked at him when I was done. I felt like Marianne was recognizably Marianne, but in my style, and Cecil was recognizably Cecil, and the Do No Harm style was recognizably Do No Harm. Very, very fun. I like doing these two. And with that, we're done. So thank you for watching all the way to the end. I really hope you enjoyed this fun style swap, because I know I did. Don't forget to buy Do No Harm. It's a great game. I can't stop playing it. Support the devs. If you want more of me, I stream on Twitch quite often, also at Dear Darling Honeyboy, and I have a VOD channel where I post all the VODs. I also have a Patreon where you can get all the drawings from my videos as high-res PNGs, so if you would like to print them out and put them on your wall, you can. Let this man into your home. Do it. You also get access to my eternal gratitude, and you can hang out in a cool Patreon Discord with the other darling Patreons. Thank you to Erik Mellesdahl and Dean Sabine for being just the dearest of darlings. And until next time, cheers. It's a lovely game. I can't get my hands... I can't get them. Next up is my character, Cecil. Cecil. It was a very horrible thing. Oh, fuck. More painterly, like, edged. I Do No Harm. Support the devs, and eat my ass. That's great. Another thing I struggled with was talking. So, and with that, piss.